Want that can't stop, won't stop, latest and greatest rating champ of internet speed? Well, look no further than ATNB. We've got the fastest high-speed internet nationwide. Take your gaming to the next level. Pwn noobs? Then perform lewd sexual acts on their recently deceased corpse while yelling racial slurs like never before. Want to catch up with friends and family on social media? How about creating a brand new identity and engaging strangers under false pretenses to satisfy a new, undefined yet oddly specific yearning instead? And let the world know your staunch patriotic political views on the comments section of a baby monitor product review site, all at lightning fast speeds. And now, by popular demand, we've made accessing the dark web easier than ever. With just one click, you'll be browsing for a hitman to take care of that pesky husband and selling his organs to the highest bidder. Bon appetit. For whatever you're into, AT&B high-speed internet has you covered. Tonight's performance of Time Mule Mike will be performed by his understudy, Crystal Time. Also, if you are the owner of a 1996 Toyota Corolla, your car is currently being towed. Not because you broke any rules, you just parked like an asshole.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Now Showing. I'm Gabe.
I'm Mike.
And wait, I'm Jason, but hold on a second. Mike,
What's up?
you both look and sound different to me. Is it
I
my
know.
internet? Is it my internet again?
No, I just look and sound much better.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
I will not push the issue. I've learned one thing on this show, to not push the issue.
Well, we're going to be pushing all sorts of boundaries today.
Now that we've watched Waterworld. All right. Welcome back to Now Showing. This month's episode is, if you haven't already seen it on our social media, it is 1995's Waterworld starring Kevin Costner. And today's pick is actually Mike's pick.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, could
Yep.
you tell us why you picked this movie?
Well, I always wanted to watch the film that they made based on the Universal Studios show. And I'm a big fan of Bob Odenkirk, so I was really excited for this.
Wait, why, what does Bob Odenkirk have to do with this movie?
Well, he stars in it.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, he looks exactly like Kevin Costner to me.
So first thoughts, I mean, oh boy, this is a lot to unpack. But I mean, if don't know anything about this movie, it's basically just Mad Max, but on the water, like exactly like Mad Max, with Kevin Costner as the lead, and oh man, like
And Kevin Costner, if I'm not mistaken, his name in the film, his character's name is Bull Durham. Is that correct?
Yes.
yes, that is correct. I'm looking at the IMDb trivia right now. So I don't know how you two feel about Kevin Costner. I am not a fan of I'm not a fan of him. He thinks he's so cool, and in this movie, like when he's doing like the flips and stuff, and like pretending to be a badass and stuff, I just was really rolling my eyes. But I just think like I think especially during that time, he was actually like the biggest like box. He was a big box office draw. Like he did was very successful, but it definitely went to his head.
This movie probably slowed down his draw. I think
Yeah,
this was a kind of an abject failure.
this and then the Postman was nail in the coffin for his
He's back
career.
now though. He's in
He
things
does
that
Yeah.
a lot of people watch now.
he does a
Well,
lot of sports movies.
I saw this movie when I was a kid, kind of probably around the time when it came out. There were two video stores in my town. I can't remember which one, but I will name both of the video stores because they both have very boring names. So one was called Entertainment Enterprises. That was the one
Oh my
that we went to
God.
the most. And the guy that worked there, really nice guy, but you would be able to ask him questions about any of the movies there, and you think, well, how does he have time to watch all this stuff? He would when he got the VHS tapes in, brand new, he'd pop them in, and he would watch the entire movie in fast forward. Just so he would just do his homework, just so if
What?
someone said like, is there like violence in it? Is it or
Oh.
just like what genre is it? He would just speed through the thing and then have it. He told me that one time. The other place we would go to was called S&S Video Express.
Oh,
That name's a little more
sounds
fun,
kinky.
but it sounds like some weird fake company, you know.
There's a lot of alliteration going on though in this
Yes,
town.
it was that this we're talking the mid to late 90s, and alliteration was all the rage.
So I have only now seen the film, and I personally thought it was pretty freaking amazing. It was a bad movie, but it was
Uh-huh.
wonderful. I don't have any ties to Kevin Costner at all. Like I realized I felt like I had seen him in 20 different movies, and then I tried to remember a movie that I had actually seen him in, and I was like, I don't think I've ever actually seen him in anything ever.
You just know the like the posters or something, maybe like you've seen
Yeah.
like Tin Cup, you know, and like
Tin
Dances with
Yes.
Cup.
Wolves. Yeah, and you probably have an idea of you probably know the movies if you just shut your eyes. Your
Yeah.
guess would be as good as
I know
actually seeing
exactly
it.
I know exactly who he is.
Yeah.
um but yeah, whenever I see him I just see Bob Odenkirk's face and I just kind of convince myself that it's Bob Odenkirk.
Well, we didn't get Bob Odenkirk in the film for real, but we did get Jack Black.
Jack
We
Black's in this.
did.
I had to point it out to Mike when we watched it. I was like, do you see who the pilot is?"
And I was just like, don't wake me. No, I actually saw the movie in fast forward, funnily enough. So no, I just want to talk about his gills because it is like Mad Max. It's very Mad Maxy, and somehow they managed to be dry on water. But I, he has gills, and it's never substantiated. Like the whole thing, they basically were like, we need to find a reason that he doesn't want to be on land at the end because we need to have some sort of separation that's going to cause this like heart tug where it's a bittersweet ending. And they're like, I know. He's a fish man. But I kind of was watching this movie and I have a theory that he started as a fish
Like he
and he's
morphed into
becoming a
man.
man. Yeah.
All right, I like it.
I like that theory too.
They literally never talk about it, so they don't tell you otherwise.
I like that you began with "This is amazing," but it's a horrible movie. Because I was thinking about it. I was watching this movie, and it took me, I think, 4 sittings to make my way through it. I would just go, I can't, and then I'd stop, and then I'd, go,
You know,
I
you know
gotta
the
keep going. But I was thinking though, I'm thinking this movie has taken such a a beating over the years that I feel like I'm not gonna say anything like too harsh about it. Like the pounding has already taken place, you know. Let the healing begin. I want to try to talk about it without just saying like fuck
Like, oh, it's
Kevin
so
Costner
shitty.
and
Yeah.
Like you're saying, like yeah, it is amazing. If nothing else, it's like fascinating. This is a
Yeah.
very fascinating movie because like this was like a triple A movie that came out in like 1995. It flopped, but like another thing is like they really like this was a big swing and they swung for the fences on like dialogue, set design. It's really kind of like it's not the best movie. But it's like not the worst thing I've ever seen. Like it's like one of the worst things a movie can be is boring. And
Ugh.
I feel like maybe there's like one or two scenes you're like, okay, that was kind of interesting, but like the problem with this movie is like unfortunately it's just kind of like I'm not really invested
it's
that
flat.
much.
It has a
Very
flatness to it.
flat.
Oh my
Oh
god.
man.
And one thing I'll say that, and I think I'm gonna kind of give this a compliment, but it's gonna be an insult at the same time. And I'm not.
Backhanded
It's
compliment.
not. No, it's not backhanded, but they really committed to this thing in the movie where they're trying to say like, Waterworld sucks. Like the place is awful. It's drab. It's so depressing. You're not living when you're there. You're just surviving. And the color palette for Waterworld, the place, is just beige. Everything's kind of beige. And you realize this very in the early one of the early scenes in the movie where this guy is like holding a couple limes or something in his hand,
Hmm.
and the limes, the green of those
It's
limes just stand out so much, and then they're gone, and then you go, well, there's no color until folks, if you want to hit pause and watch the movie, they get off Waterworld and they find land. It's very lush, and so you really, when they get to that lush uh, place there, wherever they are, after they do that hot air balloon ride,
Oh
my
my
God.
god.
it's just so euphoric. It's just so gorgeous. Like but then you realize, well, the last 2 hours I've been watching like the most drab, depressing backdrop you can possibly see. Um,
But then the ocean's there.
but the ocean doesn't look beautiful in it. I don't think.
No, not
I think
really.
you're right. I do think, man, I didn't know I was going to take this position, but I'm going to advocate for this movie. I feel like it is supposed to be drab, and now I'm just realizing like the fact that they were able to still have like this sandy drabness when they're literally on like the bluest ocean I've ever seen is kind of amazing.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of my point. Like the commitment to that is astounding, and it's the way you should feel when you're there, right?
Yeah.
But as a audience member, you want the visuals to kind of like grab you in some way, and because it's just so one note, like it kind of all blends in, and you're just like, man, I would love to see like red.
I miss Red.
I
Man, I
was
really would love to see some red right now.
I was very like I was thoroughly entertained, I think, by the movie. I have a very strange relationship with this movie without ever having seen it because um so my first exposure to Waterworld was the live show at Universal Studios Hollywood. And I don't know if, well, Gabe, I know you've seen it. I don't know if you've
I've
seen it,
seen it.
I
Jason.
haven't.
Yeah, Jason, have you seen it?
Oh my
Yeah,
I no,
god.
I've never been.
it's
Best
almost
20
legendary
minutes
to
of your
like
life.
people who go to Universal Studios because it's been there for it's still
It's
there, I
great.
think.
We had an annual like family pass for many years, and it was always like Back to the Future the ride, and Waterworld were the two things that I absolutely had to do. And all I knew was the show. And we would go like at least 3 times a year to see Waterworld for like at least 5 years of my life. So I knew everything, and I was like, oh, this is who that person in the stage show is when I was watching the movie. Um, and I actually didn't know that Waterworld was a flop. Everybody talked about it so much, and the live show was so spectacular that I just assumed it was like an amazing blockbuster hit like Jurassic Park or something.
Yeah, I wonder why it survived so long at Universal if people universally didn't like it.
I think it's because like it's water, so like you have this big tank and like it like pulls down an audience. So like,
Hmm.
because there's like a splash zone, so like you kind of want that at an amusement park, but it's just like it's a lot of money spent, especially for something that people still go to anyways, regardless of what the show really is. And it's like you can't really replace the what other water themed thing that came out recently that you could really replace it with that Universal has. Or you probably just like make a Fast and the Furious on
Ugh.
water show or something like that. But it's just like if people still keep going, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Basically, that's pretty much the
Wouldn't
whole
it be
reason
cool?
still there.
I've never seen any of the Fast and the Furious movies, but it would be kind of funny if they did one where like the premise is that they're driving underwater and like Vin Diesel's like, "Hey, do you see that fucking mermaid?" You know?
Well, yeah, I kept
My
thinking
God.
of crossovers. I was
Mm.
like, wouldn't it be cool if the end of this, when he goes on land, is like the start of Dances with Wolves? or
Yeah.
or like, what if the two eels from The Little Mermaid just showed up like right now? I just kept thinking about that, and I thought it would have been lots of lost opportunities there for Waterworld. But I will say about the plants, I love how they spent all this money going to Hawaii to film this, and they literally have like the cheapest plants ever. They're so fake, and they look
They went to
so
IKEA
bad.
and just bought some plastic plants and
Yeah,
slapped them everywhere.
or like Home Goods, but like in the discount section. It was really, really bad. Um,
Scratch and dent.
but I wonder how much of that was like HD stuff. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the HD version you're going to see is what the print was going to look like if you saw it.
Mm,
Like
Yeah.
the cleanest print. Oh,
yeah, then it's not good.
I was thinking about this. We're talking about Universal, and I think that maybe the coolest part of this whole movie is the pre-credits sequence because they have the Universal logo
Yeah.
spin,
Hmm.
and then they slowly
Yeah, that was
zoom
clever.
into it, and you're going, "Wait, I've never seen this before." And then you're just in the water of the Universal globe.
You're in Waterworld.
I really like the man in the movie who had like who clearly had the monopoly on shampoo and conditioner, the one who had like the very beautiful hair
There,
the
there
entire
was some
time.
really nice
Yes.
hair in this movie.
It was
Like
Well,
so
everybody had,
nice.
I
like
wrote
even
down
when it was like kind of dirty, it was like that's still a nice head of hair.
I wrote down this thing because there's a little kid in the movie, and I noticed their hair was just kind of changing really drastically between scenes, or even just moments. And then I was thinking, well, okay, that's a lot of wigs for this kid. And then I thought, how do I get into making wigs, but specifically for children? Because that seems like a great job.
That's in your notes? It's like wigs, children, question mark.
Well,
No, well,
yeah.
that's close. I just wrote wigs for children. No punctuation. No.
That is one thing that like there were so many times where I got distracted by like things in the background or things people were wearing, like that guy. I'm pretty sure someone was wearing a colander on their head, and Kevin Costner had the shell earring, and it was only like on one ear, so it was cool. And then he had like fringes on his vest, which I think we're supposed to believe that he made. And it was like
That's
it
a
was
Dancing with Wolves.
yeah, well, it was a
Maybe
choice.
Maybe the guy from Dances with Wolves evolved into a fish man.
Oh my gosh. And then this is the de-evolution of the fish.
Yeah.
But
And
the
then
fact,
he comes out of the water and becomes a washed up baseball player.
oh
in
my
Bull Durham.
gosh.
It's all
Maybe he's just
connected.
making this it's just
His
one
career
long
his
movie.
career is he made a statement like, I'm gonna be the same guy, you know.
It's one long movie.
Let's do it.
You know what's really
I-
weird?
No, I'm not
You
doing
know what's really weird, Mike? Mike has been texting Gabe and I, but I haven't seen
Oh,
you.
weird.
I,
well,
I don't want to focus on that though.
You
we're
can't see
talking,
my
we're talking
hands.
about Waterworld.
You can't see
Another-
my hands. I've been texting.
Okay.
Another thing about this movie, it's like it's very goofy. Like it's like there's like, and I believe like at times it's intentionally goofy. Like even like the stuff with Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say
yeah.
Dennis Hopper is comic relief, I think.
Yeah, he's like which I was not expecting because I've seen this movie like a long time ago. I remember him like doing a pretty good job at being a villain, but like he was just like he was like a straight up like comedy, like almost like a villain from I don't know, like a Marx Brothers movie.
Like Roger Rabbit.
Like Roger,
And he
oh,
looked
no,
like him.
because the villains of Roger Rabbit was like scary. Like he was just like a straight up like
Oh,
Yeah,
comedy.
he was funny. He was funny.
and there was so the movie has the music you would expect from something from that time, right?
amazing music actually.
Orchestral score,
Yeah,
really,
it was-
really,
So good.
really cool. But the one time they stray from it,
Oh my god.
they play
We-
the Peter Gunn theme. It just does not fit at all.
I was
It's
like,
What?
what
amazing.
we
Oh my gosh, it fit so perfectly. I
no,
was like, you know what? This is if this man were a song, it would be this
that's the song.
But overall, to have strings and then all of a sudden, twangy '60s electric
I know,
guitar.
so weird.
It was so apparent. Yeah, like it stood out so much. But it made me very happy and I just felt filled with joy at the moment. It's amazing seeing him in the role because I know he's a good actor, even though he's also one of those actors where I feel like I haven't seen a ton with him in, but whenever I've just heard his name, I'm like, yes, that is a good actor. He was so good in it, and I felt like it was almost one of those performances where like everybody else just wasn't as good, and it kind of just highlighted that.
He was so good, and I don't like Kevin Costner really, that I was kind of rooting for whatever he wanted to do
Right?
to happen.
He was just like,
It's
especially
like kill the kid. I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm for that.
Yeah.
you know what? Especially because Kevin Costner is such like a terrible guy for like most of the movie. Like he's like a kind of like abusing women and like children and like really like being violent with them that you don't really I never really got on his side. And like, when you see like I mean Dennis Hopper's character is not a great person either, but he makes you laugh.
Right, and the whole thing with him not being cool to Gene Triplehorn and the kid, there's when the kid gets taken away, the kid's always saying things to Dennis Hopper like, "Oh, you're making a big mistake because whatever his name is, Kevin Costner's character is gonna come. You don't want to mess. You're in trouble, buddy. He's a great dude." And it's like he was nice to you for like an afternoon, and then
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden he's your best friend. I didn't really get that
Yeah.
development so much.
Like he taught you to swim for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And like in real time too, because
Yeah,
that
yeah.
scene was really long.
And for some reason, someone pressed a stopwatch at that moment, and you just watched the time go.
I just wanted it to like zoom in on the woman's face, like right up her nose. I was like, my
Yeah.
God, what are we watching?
But so Dennis Hopper also, like toward the end when he actually went on his like really weird giant Exxon boat, you see that he's got like a whole community of people and he's like, I'm gonna get you to dry land, and you're like, wait a second. Is he like the good person in this? Because he's promising so many more people to get them to drive land than Kevin Costner like ever would.
And
he
he
was
probably
like,
has the ability to do it because he has a vehicle.
yeah, and Kevin Costner was like, I'm not taking you two to dry land. But Dennis Hopper's like, I will take all of my people to dry land no matter what it takes. And yeah, I don't know. I I was very torn morally.
You know what I'm realizing doesn't make any sense. So, you know that Kevin Costner doesn't like being at Waterworld, right? But yet he
Right.
chooses to go back. It's like, dude, you can live on dry land, but just live on the edge of it, so you can still have the water. You can have
We
both.
just
You can have both things, dude.
we thought the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Well, I was just like, or like just come visit. Like every once in a while, just have them meet you out on your boat. If you
I,
really can't stand land for like even a few seconds, just be like, "Hey," like that
I'm
penguin who visits that man in Argentina.
oh, I love that
Yeah.
story. I'm pretty sure that whole ending was like a setup for a sequel. Like
Now,
he's off to his next adventure.
Mhm.
did you guys know that there is a another cut of this movie
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
called the what is it called? The Ulysses cut, which
Yeah.
apparently ties a lot of things together. I don't know if I need that.
No, we
I'm
actively
curious
avoided
about
that
it.
version.
Yeah.
What I will say though, that does make me a little bit curious about it, but I don't think it will fulfill this, is that I felt like Waterworld, like the theme was so big and it was trying to have like all these really big concepts and then just throwing these small things in there that never got explained. Like, okay, are those her parents are on the island and she has a map? Why does he have gills? Are there other gill people? Are they
The parents I read are explained in the Ulysses cut. The
Okay.
Okay.
skeletons are her parents
Okay.
that you see early in the movie. That's all I really know.
Right,
'Cause I
but
was,
then how did she get to Waterworld? That's a huge
That's-
thing to ask.
imagine if they took the time to really make this a cautionary tale as well. I think
Yeah.
that would I mean they kind of allude to it a little bit.
They do because they have that weird like was it Joe Hazel, what's his name, Joe Hazelwood, not drop in there. Remember that?
Yeah, and I mean, am I mistaken that guy looked just like Kevin Costner?
Oh,
But I might be
I
wrong.
guess it does.
I might have just had like Kevin Costner itis from living in that
Yeah.
space for so long.
For those who don't know, Joe Hazelwood was the guy who was part of the 1989 oil spill from Exxon. And
Okay. So it's
yeah,
probably
no,
Yeah,
that's
we
a real
looked him up.
guy, and the ship that they're on was his ship. So it also has like an environmental message uh, attached to Waterworld,
oh
ever so slightly.
I want to give it up for Waterworld on one more respect here. There's a lot of really long action sequences in this movie, and maybe because of my age, because I'm years old. I can't handle CGI. Like it's also has something to do with my like the way I have to watch a movie. If I have to kind of like really like get immersed in it, and as soon as I see CGI, I get pulled out and I go, that's not really the person jumping over that bridge, and I kind of like I lose focus. And there's so many crazy cool stunts in this that are just done by really good stunt workers and just things they figured out how to do practically. I mean, I'm sure that there's some CGI in this because of the timing of it.
The balloon was
The
definitely
balloon was.
The
Yeah.
sea monster. The sea
Mhm.
monster that he hunted. I agree though. I feel like I mean I really Gabe can attest to this. As everybody knows, Gabe and Mike live together.
Well, we all do. We have a
Yeah, we have a big
We're like the Beatles
we have a yurt.
from
Yeah. we all have our own entrances, but it leads into the same place.
It's just one room with 3 doors.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love action movies and I really love the way 90s action movies are put together because there isn't that much CGI and because even if it's obvious that they are stunt doubles, it doesn't really kill it for me because there's still action going on. And they did used to be longer.
Mhm.
And the way they're cut now is so like Batman Begins, where it's just like a 0.1 second cut just put together with a bunch of them where you just see flashes and like streaks of people's arms and things. But I kind of feel like they say comedy lives in a wide shot. I kind of feel that way for action too.
I was gonna say the same thing because with a comedic scene and with an action scene, there's a tension. So if you're living in that moment, so someone like I'll use the example again of someone like jumping over off a bridge onto another building. Like if you see it all in one motion, there's your brain's going like, are they going to make it? Or you feel the danger in it. But if it's cut a million times, there's no real drama to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it in a way it's like a stylistic choice, but often you kind of lose, like, you lose any sense that something could go wrong or that someone's performing the thing.
Yeah, you're less of an action movie, I think, if you do that. You like you said, like you've become more stylistic, which isn't bad, but if you're trying to make an action movie, like just give us what we want. And we want just I guess Kevin Costner just diving
Less talk.
less talk, more rock. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's kind of a good way to kind of start to land, or actually we'll say we'll dock this ship we're on right now.
I just have one more thing.
I have one tiny thing too, so we can go around here.
Okay, just real quick. Is it just me, or do they try to make the little girl ethnically ambiguous?
Oh,
I think
'Cause
that's
she-
the point. That's the case for everybody on Waterworld.
But like everybody had like a sunburn or like had a lot of sun on, but she was like a little darker, and she had the dreadlocks, and I was thinking that maybe they were trying to make it seem like she was like just like not white,
Well,
even though she was
I have a
really white.
theory. I have a theory about this. I feel like they would do that today more so back then, but I
Oh,
think
really?
it might be that she's from dry land, and I think that might have been a call to that as like, looks, as opposed to these people who are sunburned, this
Mhm.
child is caked in dirt. And it's a slight like symbolic foreshadow of something later. That's what I think.
For Waterworld 2.
Waterworld
Mike,
2.
Mike, what's your closing remark?
Well, we haven't talked about the Doc Brown character slash the guy with the air balloon in The Mummy Returns.
That's true.
Because he's basically those two people combined.
Um,
There seems to be a trope of like jolly men in balloons in like a dirty world that comes down and saves you at the last minute, but the reason that they didn't save you in the first place was because they messed up somehow. But then they're like, "Oh, I finally got it to work."
Yeah, when he was
Just at the
flying
right
away, he's
time.
like, I didn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
Whoops. Well,
Also,
bye,
talking
I
about
guess.
talk about saving people at the last minute. We didn't talk about the bungee jump rescue.
Oh my god,
very
I
end.
drew it. It was so intense.
My God,
My favorite. That's the best thing that's ever happened anywhere, not just in
as-
cinema.
as soon as I saw him grab a rope, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. This is the 90s. He's definitely gonna bungee jump. And he's gonna catch that girl, and there's gonna be a huge explosion.
It was so
And that's
good.
the end of the movie.
They were gonna smash into each other regardless of
Yeah.
what they did, which is
They were gonna kill her and
Yeah, there's-
themselves.
they should have made one more move that his act made them crash, but they were gonna just all crash together with the girl in the middle.
That was very funny.
The thing I want to just bring up is, it's a really short point, but a very powerful one, is that there were a lot of unnecessary somersaults in this movie.
Oh yeah, so unnecessary.
See, I think they were all necessary. This is a
Each
somersault
one.
movie. This is
In
a
the Uli-
feel-good Waterworld movie.
It makes a lot more sense in the Ulysses cut.
Oh, there's a backstory to it. He was a
There's a
former
backstory
gymnast.
to all of it.
Yeah.
That's the siren song for the great whale beasts that he hunts.
All right, so Mike, would you recommend this movie?
Oh, absolutely. Take your kids to see it and don't trust anyone over 30.
Okay. Jason.
I will say no. Life's too short. But if you are on a podcast and want something fun to talk about, I would say go out and see it because it makes for a good segment.
And I would say, it's if you want like a blast from the past, something like really nostalgic, especially from the 90s, this is right up your alley. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just like a 90s action movie. It's exactly what it is.
But I would like to add a bonus recommendation. Come on down to Universal Studios Hollywood and see the live show. If you want the best version of Waterworld, that's where you're going to get it. And sit in the splash zone.
And it's only like 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing's free in Waterworld.
Time Mule.
Hey, do you two want to play a game?
Of course.
Yeah.
So when you watch like movie trailers and for example, if it's about like an American doing kung fu and it's like a comedy that would play like everybody was kung fu fighting,
Mhm.
It's like a very obvious song for a movie trailer. I made a game based around that.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So this is how the game works. I have one song and three movies. You need to guess which of these three movies did not use the song is in question.
Fantastic.
Do you understand the game?
It did not use the song.
It showed the restraint to not
Okay.
use the super obvious song in their trailer.
Let's do
Got
it.
it. Do it. Here we go.
Okay. Are you two familiar with the song Under Pressure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing song, Queen, David Bowie. It has been used in a lot of movie trailers. It's mostly used to show white men in crisis. That's what I have noticed. So, these are your three choices. Has this song been used in the trailer for Adaptation, 40 Days and 40 Nights, or Ed TV? I will give you a brief description of a movie if you don't know what the movie is.
I know all three.
I don't know 40 Days and 40 Nights.
So 40 Days and 40 Nights is a Josh Hartnett movie where he gives up sex for
Oh, Jesus. Say
Lent.
no more. Got it. Okay.
Mike, would you like to go first this round?
I don't think Adaptation used it.
Oh, okay. Very interesting.
I
Jason.
I was kind of leaning that same way because it's the coolest of the movies, and maybe they would do something a little more esoteric, but I don't want to guess the same as Mike.
Well, but now I don't think that's it.
You can unlock your answer if you want to.
What were the other two?
It was 40 Days and 40 Nights and Ed TV.
I'm going to go with Ed TV. That's locked.
Jason.
I'm just gonna go 40 Days and 40 Nights because I think it's a fun choice.
So, the movie trailer that did not use the song Under Pressure is Ed TV. So, Mike, you get 1 point.
See,
Well
because
done.
then I thought that maybe Adaptation used it ironically. I think they did.
No, they did not use it
Oh,
ironically.
God. All right, never mind.
You should watch the trailer. All right. It is the Martin Scorsese round. So, Martin Scorsese is famously a huge fan of the Rolling Stones. So much so that the song Gimme Shelter shows up in 2 of his movie trailers. Which one of these 3 Martin Scorsese movies does not use the song Gimme Shelter? Is it Casino, Bringing Out the Dead, or The Departed?
I think it's Casino.
I'm gonna say Bringing Out the Dead.
Bringing Out the Dead. All right. So, Gimme Shelter was not used in the movie trailer for Bringing Out the Dead.
Ah.
But instead they used Be My Baby by the Ronettes.
There was a lot of weird songs in that one, but all right, so we have a tie, and I have a tiebreaker.
Oh my God.
Okay, this round is gonna be a little bit different, okay?
Mhm.
The movie Mystery Men
Oh, I love it.
uses many songs in its trailer. What I need you to guess is which song was not used in the trailer.
Okay.
All Star by Smash Mouth, Disco Inferno, or Play That Funky Music, White Boy?
Play that funky music, white boy.
That's a good guess. I'm gonna go with All Star because I feel like it lines up too perfectly with when the movie came out. And
You know, a funny thing is, I actually think that song debuted in Mystery Men.
It was written for the movie.
It
son of
was
a
written for the
bitch.
movie. That was a dead giveaway. So the movie they did not use was Play That Funky Music, White Boy. So Mike, you win. Bad trailer game. I don't know what to call this game. But
Mike
I put
always
in a
wins.
lot of work.
I will have to remove my disguise in order to celebrate.
If you mix Crossply and Radial tyres on the same axle, or use Crossply on the rear when you've Radials on the front, you might not live to regret it. Crossply and Radial tyres. Check how you mix them.
Well, here we are again in this comfortable, warm place, safe place. One question looms on my mind. What did we learn today?
Well, let me just say that was your best intro to this segment yet.
Thank you.
Very confident, very cool.
Agree.
But I actually just learned something moments ago. You know, in this call that we're having, I learned that Gavin Rosdale is a known cheater at both basketball
Yeah.
and Monopoly.
It was all over the tabloids.
I think that he doesn't have the talent. He doesn't have the talent to win playing it fair. He has to cheat.
Yeah, he's a scoundrel.
It's true.
And I learned that the trailer for Mystery Men uses 2 tracks from the Army of Darkness score. I don't know why they did that.
And they are
I don't know the names of it, but it's like
instrumental music.
Yeah, the instrumental music.
Oh.
They're probably
Really strange.
probably a fan.
I think they just knew it wasn't well-known music, and they were just like, "This is fine."
They'll be hearing from our lawyers. Mule Time and Associates. That's who represents us.
Wow. I love that.
Mike, you want to say a few words?
What did I learn today, you jauntily ask? Well, I will gladly accept this generous task. I learned that in the water blue, there rides a mariner with steely blue eyes and a bad attitude. A fatherly bond is the cure. A great head of hair and a missing eye seek to destroy all they can. But there in the depths with gills and webbed feet swims a man with a plan. He is terribly abusive, but yet so elusive, with so much trauma at play. But is he really going to let that get in the way of this movie ending in a 3-way jet ski explosion? No way. That's what I learned.
That's some powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff.
I feel like if we were in Greenwich Village circa 1962 and that was right on stage, you would be greeted with...
Well, on that note, thank you everybody for listening, and goodbye.
Smell you later.
Goodbye.